Hello. We're going to begin this tutorial with a look at where we ended up last time. This sheet, the task sheet, should be where you ended up. Let's take a look at what we've done so far. We should have predecessors with no resources, duration. It's always good to check duration to make sure they coincide with what our original times were. We should go back to resources to see if anything is there. There is not. Good. And then we ought to move back to the task sheet, Gantt chart, and show projects. We should put a duration chart in here. So let's open a new column. Put duration in there. Do that by just typing in the name instead of hunting for it. Okay, our duration is 14 days in this assignment. We ought to write that down somewhere. 14 days, 272 hours, and our cost is nothing with no one aside. Okay, that's good enough. Let's go back to the task chart. Gantt chart. Okay, now the first thing we're going to do in this exercise is assign resources. We need to look at our assignment sheet for that. I'm going to show you the assignment sheet now. It's a little different than the other assignment sheet. I've added some columns to it. Let's look at this. The first 3, 4, 5 columns are the same, or 3 columns are the same. The first new one is something called recalculation of duration. We'll talk about that later. We have a pay per hour, a resource, and then we also have availability per week. That's where we'll get our percentage of availability. We are going to attempt to change the duration of each task based on the assignment of less than 100% availability. Warning, this doesn't always work and didn't work well in practice. So we'll try it, and if we can't, we'll enter the individual dates manually. Okay, so let's go into the resource sheet. We have 3 resources, Ann, Becky, and Clive. We're going to enter Ann's data. Ann is our first resource. We don't need an RBS for her. She is a work resource, meaning that she is a person. We don't need her email address. Get rid of that. Our initial was A. Max units is 100%. No, it's actually 75%. 75%. And Ann makes $60 an hour. Put 60 in. Okay, the rest of this we can leave alone. Click on Ann on the line. Let's go in here and look at costs. These costs are based on a date in the past. Let's put a recent date of 1 November in there. Okay, and make it 60 hours. I mean $60. Okay, good. Let's should have kept that open. Let's go in here and look at availability. Again, let's move to 1 November. Okay, availability is 75%. 75%. Okay, close that. Becky. Excuse my non-typing. Work resource as her initials. She's also at 75%. That in here. Becky makes $35 an hour. And that's locked in. Let's go back here, open up the resource information, and again assign her as of 1 November, and it should be 75%. And Okay, 1 November, $35 an hour. Okay, close that. And the next resource is Clive. Resource, initials. He's only good for 50% of the time, but he makes $50 an hour. Alright, let's open his window up. Set him for 1 November. $50. And let's go into resource availability. And he's 50. We have our resources lined up. We're going to go back and correct Becky. Becky should be 75. Okay. Let's make sure Becky's box is right. Okay, that's good. Boss. Alright, that's good. Alright, so 75, 75, 50, 60, 35, 50. Now we can go back to our entering resources. Back to our task sheet, Gantt chart. Okay, now we're going to enter the resources. And the way this should work is when we change the resource from 100 to 50% or 75%, it should change this box over here. Let's look at the first one. And the first person that we're going to add is Becky. She works 30 hours a week. That is 75% of a week. 30 out of 40, that's 3/4, that's 75%. So let's enter her in here. Okay, we're going to go up to this box and hit Assign Resources. It's Becky. We're going to put this down to 75. This is quite tedious. I can't find another way to do this. So we're going to hit 75%. We're going to hit Becky. Assign. And did not change. 3 days should come to 4 days. The idea is that if the task is a 3-day task and she's going to work 75% of the time, it should take her 4 days to do it. We're going to have to change these manually. The next person working in here is going to be Ann. Click on that box, we go to Assign Resources, click on Ann. Ann is 75%. Assign Ann. Next box is going to be Clive. Clive at 50%. Next person we're going to assign is Ann, 2.1. So Ann is going to be assigned at 75%. And so on. As you can now see, all of the resources are entered with their availability. Also notice on the right side chart that all of the people in the Gantt chart also have the availability next to their activity. Also notice that some of the durations have been changed and some have not, even though the procedures I used to enter the information in the resource column was identical. I don't know why this does this, but you could see the first line, the first activity, Becky, it was 3 days, 75% availability, means she has to work 4 days with 3 days worth of work done. Down here, task number 3.2 changed to 5.33 days. I don't know why this is so. It may just be a fluke because of the nature of freeware. But at any rate, we're going to have to change all these durations. Alright, I'm going to change some of these durations manually. The first duration, 1.1, is already changed before. Let's change this, the day 1, test 1.2 to 1.334. Now watch what happens over here, the chart. It extends that particular activity. Rule definition, this is going to go to 4. And watch what happens to Clive's activity. It extends, it gets longer. I'm going to change the rest of it. All of the durations have been entered, something the program should have done automatically. Look at the chart. It is now several days longer. Each one of these persons worked less than full time. So to do a 1 hour's work, they had to do more than 1 hour's worth of work. Now we're going to go take a look at the duration. Go back to the file, projects. The duration has gone up to 24.667 days. Remember what it was before? It was 14 days. The number of work hours hasn't changed, but now the duration of the project is 10 days longer because we've added a little bit to each one of these activities. Okay, let's go back to the Gantt chart. Gantt chart. Now, as you can see, many of these activities overlap. That is, one person is doing 2 things at the same time, sometimes more than 2 things. So we're going to look at the histogram and what it shows us. This histogram shows us the activities each person is conducting on each given day. I'm going to make the bottom part of this chart bigger by sliding this up. Do that. Now, this goes through each person, and right now Ann is clicked, and we can see that Ann is busy every day at 75% capacity. There's some days she has nothing to do at all. Some days are partial days, and she is pretty much done working the activity on, it looks like Wednesday. She has no work on the last week of the activity, last week of the project. Becky, Becky is overcommitted during most of the first week and part of the second week. And Clive is overcommitted during the second week. So we need to find a way to adjust this. Now, some programs do this automatically. We're going to do this by hand. What we want to do is move these activities so that each one of these people is only working at their capacity. The first one we're going to look at is Becky. Now, you look at the chart, immediately above there is the Gantt chart, and this, wherever it is over capacity, that area above there has that person committed to 2 things at the same time. For instance, Becky is doing this activity, 1.2, and she's doing this activity, 3.3 at the same time. So we need to adjust that. Now, a way to do this is to start moving the lowest predecessor activities out. Let's get this activity totally out of the way. And so now we've cleaned up all of Becky's problems here. We may have created some others though. And now let's move this first activity back. We still have a problem here. We want to go directly and look at Becky. Becky has no conflict above this activity, but here she seems to have a problem. So let's move these activities around. Get rid of some of these. Alright, let's move activities away. You want to try not to disturb any links like I did. If that happens, just let go of the key immediately. Okay, so we're moving up. Get up a little bit. There we go. We can do all this by moving these things manually. It may take you a little while. Can't see where Becky is. Opposite of Clive. Clive is not overcommitted, so the problem is all Becky. Where can we find Becky? It's here. Problem there. We could move this activity up probably. Let's get Becky away from this. Overcommitted here. It's back. Okay. It would look like now Becky is totally uncommitted, totally within 75% every day. Now Ann is over here. We need to move Ann. Move Ann forward. That would help us. Not sure we can do that. Let's go over here. This activity, and we can see that when we select that particular activity, Ann is there and she's overcommitted. Let's see if we can take this activity, click on it, and change it starting earlier than. This is caused because we moved it physically on the chart. Let's see as soon as possible does this. Okay, it didn't really force. Let's see if we can fix Ann's problem manually. Okay, Ann's fixed. Becky's fixed. Clive is fixed. Okay, now the next question is, this is short as we can make it. Can we do something to move some of these activities up that don't conflict? For instance, can we move Ann up a little bit? Let's go up a little bit. Maybe to here. Can Clive move up? Do that, does Clive have a conflict? No. So we move that up a little bit. Can we move Clive? Has nothing going on here. Clive could be moved up a bit. Okay, Clive. Nothing seems to be going on with Clive, but that may have caused someone else to have a problem. But oops! Ann's overloaded here. We gotta move this out. Can we move this activity out? No. Do that. Ann's the problem here. Move Ann forward. Move Ann forward a little bit, maybe. Ann, Becky, Clive. Okay, well we've got a bunch of folks now working inside of their capacity, and we've shortened we have no conflicts and activities. We seem to start our project off a little late, so we move this up a little bit. Let's get this as soon as possible. I think we can do that. See if we move up as soon as possible. Say okay. Looks like we need the rest of this up too. Let's see if we can move this up. It doesn't move. We need to see if we can move this up. Do we have any conflicts? Yes, we do. So I want you to play around with this and get the shortest duration that you can. And then when you send this to me in the note box on the projects, I want to see numbers: duration, hours, and cost. Thank you. Good luck.